So, first things first. When Google came out as the big search engine in the early 2000s or late 90s, keywords were the main source of their understanding. And today they still are. But back then, all it took was just adding your keyword wherever you needed to on that page, regardless if it made sense. You just had to fit in that keyword in order to rank well. This became known as keyword stuffing and was a very effective method for ranking number one. If you wanted to rank for red apples, all you needed to do was put that in, stuff it in wherever you could find it, and be done with it. But as this became overused and abused, Google released in about 2008 the infamous Penguin update, which effectively made this tactic obsolete and introduced keyword density as a metric or a way to understand the content. So today, keywords and content and copy on your page and website is more human than ever. We don't look necessarily at specific search terms, but more as like search topics. So understanding that the semantic language and closely related terms also factor into how you rank for a specific keyword. And also keyword proximity has become a bigger part as well. And this is not just looking at keywords like going left to right, but also up and down. So the content you have within a paragraph or a page, Google understands the relationship between those languages. You'll notice in this body of text here that time management and apps is used relatively frequently throughout the text. But when you look at it, this is the top result for productivity software for managers. So what this tells us is that Google has a great understanding that productivity and time management are really closely related, as well as software and apps are also closely aligned. So when you're thinking about your content, think about the different variations of language that you can use to help enhance the copy of your website. The other side of that is that we no longer just look at the surface of words on the page. We look to understand the specific intent behind those words. So navigational, informational, and transactional terms are all part of that search experience. This is sort of the difference between good cameras for beginners or Nikon cameras or DSLR cameras for sale. Google looks to understand when a searcher uses a certain phrase, if it is an action-based phrase or if it's a research-based phrase. And a lot of the times, these searches will have a lot of overlapping intent. So understanding that when you're creating your content, to make sure that they align with your content aligns with that messaging, because if they don't align, it's not going to have the same opportunity to rank. If you're thinking about good cameras for beginners, you're not going to be writing about the expert features on a new lens. If you're looking to sell or reach users looking for cameras for sale, you're not going to be pitching your lighting sets or tripods. So be very mindful of the holistic approach to your keywords, because there's a lot more to it than just what's on the surface. So when it comes to choosing your keywords, it's important to understand that the intent, as well as the competition and the search volume, all play a factor into this. If you're starting out, be sure to avoid trying to target like broad terms such as the word cars, and look to target more long tail keywords such as used car dealerships in Burnaby. These phrases have a lot less search volume than the broader terms, but are a lot more specific and can generate a lot of leads as well as revenue because they're hitting that user right when they are at that moment of action. If you take the search result to the right here for the word cars, Google has a very messy view of what the intent is here. You have trailers for the movie Cars. You have a conspiracy theory about the movie Cars. There's top news articles, and there's also a map result for the closest car dealerships nearby. And so when we're looking at a broad term like this, sure, like there's millions of searches for the word cars, but you're going to have a very difficult time beating out some of the bigger, more reputable websites that have been there a while. So if you see search results with Amazon or Wikipedia or even Forbes in there, you may want to consider looking at other opportunities for your keywords. And another thing here to note is that don't get hung up just on search volume. You might see ones where they have 0 monthly searches or 10 monthly searches. And it's important to understand that this is just an estimate that is hugely inaccurate. There's a ton of data now that supports, say, how 0 monthly searches, those keywords can actually generate a lot of revenue because there's a way less competition for terms like that. So if you do see a phrase that highly aligns with the product or page that you want to write about, try it out, because there might be a very good opportunity to gain some of that search landscape and own some of those results. So when we're choosing our keywords, it's always best to start with Google's predictive answers. Autocomplete here is our friend, because these are searches that Google already knows to be have been done by other people, and so they have some data to tell you that these are what people are potentially looking for. It's also important too, when you're building out this list, to look for related terms and synonyms. Saving these in a good keyword spreadsheet or just a Google Doc will help you to start to shape out how you want to build out that list. Free tools like Keyword Surfer, Ubersuggest, SEO Quake, or even keywordstool.io are all free to use and will help you to expand on that list. And while you're building that list, take note of the other websites that are showing up consistently for these terms, because then we'll be able to go in and look at those websites to understand what they're writing about.